So I was stuck in Tokyo trying to get to Australia since I couldn't get into New Zealand, and despite the fact that I had an immigration lawyer working for me pro bono who was married to a member of Parliament in New Zealand, that didn't seem to cut it. He actually called the immigration minister in New Zealand because he could do that. He just called the guy up, talked to the guy's secretary, which is not like a secretary, but somebody who has influence, who can make decisions and stuff. Talked to the secretary, and said, I have a client who's trying to get in, to Australia, to New Zealand, but he didn't get all his work visas sorted out and stuff, and we're wondering if we can make an exception to the situation because in Japan, New Zealand outsources visa applications to Shanghai, to a private company in Shanghai. So you actually have to mail your passport to China in order to get a work visa. So it takes a long time. And whereas in other places like Washington, D.C. or Sydney or something, you just go to the embassy and they stamp it and that's it. You got your visa. So the secretary interrupted him and said, David Rovick is not allowed into this country. And then the lawyer said, I didn't tell you what my client's name is. Anyway, I felt very important. So it was very good for my ego. Being on a watch list is really therapeutic, actually. Because all this time you're playing music and you're thinking, am I making a difference? You put up these videos and 200 people watch them. You're like, hey, does this really matter? But it's nice to know that at least the intelligence agencies they care. You feel cared about. But I was stuck in Tokyo and luckily found a nice place to stay. That was not a hotel. It was free, with a wonderful Mexican family, and I got an email from a friend in Brisbane, Australia. He said there's a trial going on here, and we need a song about it. And I tried to tell him there's been a lot of other songs written on this subject, but he wasn't having that. He said you need to write a song about this, and so I did. And it was a guy named Graham Dunstan who had watched the video that Chelsea Manning leaked to WikiLeaks, the video of the helicopter gunship killing children and journalists in Baghdad, that they call the collateral murder video. He had seen this video when it was released, and that had been very disturbing to him. And so when the U.S. and Australia were conducting their biannual war games, they call them, he trespassed onto a military base with a sledgehammer and engaged in a worldwide tradition at this point of smashing military equipment with a sledgehammer. And military equipment, helicopters and fighter jets, they seem really mean and nasty, and of course they are when they're in the air. But when they're on the ground, they're actually very vulnerable. And the nose cone of a fighter jet, you can destroy with one swing of a sledgehammer, and it's $1 million. Just the nose cone is $1 million. And so, it's the same kind of thing with helicopter gunships. You can do a lot of damage, and you don't even need to swing that hard. And, as they found out at Shannon Airport as well. Of course, in Shannon, they were found not guilty, and Graham Dunstan was found guilty. But I had written this song recently, and I had sung it at this bizarre little hippie festival in France, which was entirely populated by Dutch hippies in France. There were no French people there. But these Dutch hippies I was walking down the path the next day after doing this concert, wondering if the Dutch hippies had really gotten anything that I had sung. I wasn't sure. And then this guy stopped me on the path and he said, 10 million people with sledgehammers could change everything. I thought, yeah, you got it. That is exactly it. I watched it on the TV. Machine guns fire towards the ground. I watched the people run. Helicopter gunship strafing the street. I watched them lining up the bodies in the Baghdad heat. They say these leaks had consequences, and I must agree. When I saw them fire on the children, it affected me. I thought, what if I were wearing the other shoe. If I had a hammer, what would I do? I am just a person like anyone. I am just another mother's son. I have no special powers. I cannot fly, not like that helicopter gunship up in the sky, sending all those bullets all around to the journalists and children on the ground. I am just one man, that's very true. But if I had a hammer, what would you do? Sometimes I try to wonder, why should I care? But then the answer seems so obvious. There are people down there. And right here in Queensland, there's an army base. And there's a helicopter gunship just sitting in place. There's a time for watching. There's a time to act. It's just gonna kill more children if it remains intact. I am just one person, but you are too. And if you had a hammer, what would you do? If you had a hammer, what would you do?